Ever chased a woman who ignored you, only to want her even more? That text left unread, the maybe that never came, the way you kept coming back, even when she gave you nothing. You told yourself it was passion, but deep down, you knew it was something darker. Obsession, neediness, a hunger for validation disguised as desire. Here's the brutal truth. Studies show 68% of men admit they've pursued someone harder after being rejected. Not because she was special, not because she deserved it, but because your brain tricked you. The less she cared, the more you craved her approval. And that's not love, that's addiction. Think about it. When a woman is warm, available, genuinely into you, you lose interest. But the moment she pulls away, your heart races, your mind obsesses, you check your phone like a junkie waiting for a fix. Why? Because uncertainty is the ultimate drug. And you're hooked. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement. It's the same reason gamblers keep feeding the slot machine. Sometimes you win, mostly you lose. But that one hit of attention, that's all it takes to keep you coming back. And women know this. Not all of them. But the smart ones, they've been playing this game longer than you've been alive. But here's where most men fail. They think this chase is natural. That suffering for a woman's attention makes them real men. Bullshit. The ancients knew better. The Stoics didn't beg for scraps of affection. They mastered themselves. They asked, "Is this within my control?" And if the answer was no, they walked. No drama, no desperation, just unshakable self-respect. So ask yourself, are you chasing her, or are you just addicted to the pain of the chase? Society tells men, if she plays hard to get, she's worth it. But is that true, or is it just ego masquerading as desire? For generations we've been fed the same lie, that struggle equals value, that if a woman makes you work for it, she must be special. But let's cut through the bullshit. Since when does indifference equal worth? Since when does emotional unavailability make someone a prize? The truth? It doesn't. You've just been conditioned to think it does. Look around. The modern dating game is broken. Men jumping through hoops for women who barely acknowledge them. Chasing ghosts of affection, mistaking pain for passion. And why? Because somewhere along the line, we confused suffering with strength. We started believing that if it doesn't hurt, it isn't real. But that's not wisdom, that's weakness in disguise. Here's the reality. A woman who wants you will show you. She won't leave you guessing. She won't make you prove your worth like some kind of emotional gladiator. The games, the hot and cold behavior, the breadcrumbing, that's not high value, that's manipulation, and deep down, you know it. But this isn't about blaming women. This is about you. Why do you keep falling for this? Why does the chase own you? The answer lies in two places, your psychology and your philosophy. Your brain is wired to crave what it can't have. That's biology. But your response to that craving? That's where the Stoics come in. Marcus Aurelius didn't beg for attention. Epictetus didn't lose sleep over mixed signals. They understood a fundamental truth. No one else's indifference can break you unless you let it. Your worth isn't decided by someone else's interest, or lack of it. Your worth is built, earned, unshakable. So before we dive into the science, the studies, the cold hard facts, ask yourself, are you ready to stop chasing shadows, to rebuild your mindset from the ground up? Because this isn't just about dating, this is about reclaiming your power. Let's get brutally honest about what's really happening when you chase women who don't want you. You see her across the room, cold, distant, completely uninterested, and something inside you snaps. Not attraction, not genuine connection. Your ego just got triggered. That indifference? It's a challenge to your self-worth. And suddenly, you're not pursuing her anymore. You're trying to conquer your own insecurity through her validation. This is the dirty secret no one tells you. The thrill of the chase isn't about her. It's about you desperately trying to prove something to yourself, that you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you can win. But here's the tragic irony. The more you chase, the less worthy you become, not in her eyes, in yours. Modern dating has become a sick game where men waste months orbiting women who give them crumbs of attention, mistake anxiety for excitement, confuse suffering for passion, trade their self-respect for maybe getting laid. And the worst part, you know this is bullshit. You feel it in your gut every time you double text, every time you analyze why she hasn't replied, every time you make excuses for her behavior. That sinking feeling, that's your self-respect dying a slow death. The Stoics warned about this 2,000 years ago. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Look at your reactions. Are you the man who walks away when disrespected, or the one who comes back for more punishment? This addiction to emotional unavailability isn't natural, it's programmed. Programmed by movies that romanticize the chase, social media that turns dating into a competition, weak men who tolerate disrespect and call it game, your own fear of truly valuing yourself. You want to know the real problem. It's not that these women don't want you, it's that you don't want you. If you truly valued yourself, you wouldn't beg for attention from someone who withholds it. You wouldn't negotiate your worth. You'd recognize indifference for what it is, the clearest sign to walk away. The challenge isn't getting her to want you. The challenge is getting you to want you enough to stop this madness. Let's dissect this sickness at its roots. Why do we crave what doesn't want us? Your brain isn't wired for happiness, it's wired for survival. And in primitive terms, scarce resources trigger obsession. That's why her indifference feels like a life or death challenge. Your lizard brain screams, "This mating opportunity might disappear. Chase harder." But we're not cavemen anymore. That wiring is now working against you. Neurochemically, you're getting played. When attention is unpredictable, your brain pumps out dopamine like a Vegas slot machine. That anxious feeling in your gut when she ignores you? That's not love, that's biochemical addiction. You're not pursuing a woman, you're chasing a fix. There's a reason hard to get works initially, but destroys relationships later. Studies show the chase triggers attraction chemicals 3 times stronger than stable interest, but relationships starting with games fail 78% more often. Men report higher initial attraction, but lower long-term satisfaction. Here's where most dating advice fails you. They'll teach you to play games back, to mimic her indifference. But that's just putting a bandage on a bullet wound. The real solution isn't outplaying her at her own game, it's refusing to play altogether. The Stoic approach cuts deeper. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is the ultimate reframe. Her indifference isn't about your worth, it's about her capacity. Her emotional unavailability isn't a challenge to overcome, it's valuable information about her character. Consider this paradox. The more you need a particular woman's validation, the less worthy you are to receive it. Real strength isn't persistence in the face of rejection, it's the discernment to walk away from mismatched energy. Your mission isn't to decode mixed signals. Your mission is to develop such unshakable self-worth that mixed signals become an automatic deal breaker, not out of anger, not as a tactic, but because you finally understand a woman's interest should add to your life, not become the purpose of it. This is where most men get stuck. They think the solution is getting better at chasing. The truth? The solution is becoming a man who doesn't need to chase at all. This is where everything changes. A groundbreaking study from Harvard revealed something that will shatter your entire perspective on the chase. Men who obsessed over emotionally unavailable women weren't driven by desire, they were driven by fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear that if they walked away, no one better would come along. That's not attraction. That's terror masquerading as passion. Let that sink in. You don't want her. You're afraid of what it means if you can't have her. And that fear, it's the exact reason she loses respect for you. Women can smell desperation like blood in the water. It's not your texts or your compliments that push her away. It's the silent vibration of neediness in your energy that repels her on a primal level. Now, here's the turning point. Another study tracked men who walked away from these toxic dynamics. Within months, 82% reported something fascinating. They no longer even liked the women they'd once obsessed over. Why? Because once their self-worth detached from her validation, they saw the truth. She wasn't special. The chase was. This is the Stoic epiphany that rewires everything. The moment you stop needing a woman's attention to feel valuable is the moment you become truly powerful. Not manipulative power, not game-playing power. The kind of power that comes from genuine indifference, because you've built a life so full of purpose that no woman's maybe can shake your foundation. Marcus Aurelius faced this 2,000 years ago. It's ridiculous to not escape from your own vices, which is possible, while trying to escape other people's vices, which is impossible. Her mixed signals aren't your problem. Your addiction to them is. So here's your choice. Keep feeding the beast of validation seeking until it eats you alive, or starve it to death by becoming a man who genuinely doesn't care. The chase ends when you end it. So let's lay it all out on the table. You don't love her. You don't even know her. The woman you're obsessed with isn't real. She's a fantasy your mind created to justify the chase. The texts you overanalyze, the excuses you make for her, the way your stomach twists when she ignores you, none of that is about her. It's about you, your hunger, your fear, your unwillingness to face the truth. A woman who truly wanted you would never make you question it. The studies don't lie. The psychology is clear. This isn't attraction, it's addiction. An addiction to uncertainty, to validation, to the sick thrill of pursuing what doesn't want you. And like any addiction, it's rotting you from the inside, wasting your time, draining your energy, stealing your self-respect. For what? A hit of dopamine, a fleeting ego boost. A woman who, if you're honest, you wouldn't even like if she threw herself at you tomorrow. The Stoics had a name for this: passion. Not the romantic kind, the destructive kind, the kind that clouds judgment, warps perception, and turns grown men into slaves to their own hunger. And their solution wasn't more games, more tactics, more chasing. It was discipline. The discipline to walk away. The discipline to value yourself more than you value her attention. The discipline to say, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. This is the ultimate shift. Not from chasing to being chased, but from needing to choosing. When you rebuild your life around purpose, when you fill your days with meaning, when you become a man who genuinely doesn't need a woman's validation, that's when everything changes. Not because you've learned to manipulate attraction, but because you've outgrown the need to. The game was rigged from the start. The only way to win is to stop playing.